Everyone is currently ignoring this key Bitcoin trend that we've actually seen more often than not over the past 2 years or so. This is a very, very common, but for whatever reason, often highly ignored trend that Bitcoin does generally follow very, very closely. So I want to go over that with you today, as well as just kind of the overall state of the altcoin market. But really what we're seeing right now is it's all about Bitcoin at this point in time. We need to see Bitcoin perform. Bitcoin needs to continue to ideally make higher highs if we have any hope of an alt season coming around, which is why I am focusing so strongly on Bitcoin. Before we actually go into the Bitcoin chart though, I did want to show you right here, we can see that this is the total 3 Bitcoin, or the total 3 chart divided by Bitcoin. So you could see total 3, or the total altcoin market essentially is about 32, almost 33% of Bitcoin's market cap. So very, very small relative to Bitcoin. Now, you'll see here, obviously, this is the massive liquidation event. But since then, obviously, there has been a trend down. We were following this kind of ascending trend line for quite some time here. We did kind of break through that. We were kind of holding in this range, and then we fell down through the bottom. However, though, ever since then, we haven't really been doing too much, though there is a very clear consolidationary pattern going on. So you can see here, there's a bit of this descending trend line going on right here. Fairly easy to see. You can see we actually have tried to break above it. It appears like currently we are going to be getting rejected. And then there has been this slightly ascending trend line going on here. So I mean, we are getting to the very end of this wedge here. We'll see kind of which is stronger. Maybe we don't see any sort of incredible breakout one direction or the other. Maybe we just continue to kind of follow this trend line and then get squeezed up against this level of resistance that we have seen. It's very, very hard to say so far, but currently we are in this little bit of a consolidationary pattern. Now, given where we are in the market, it would not surprise me if we followed this trend line over this trend line. This would mean that altcoins continue to bleed to Bitcoin. Altcoins relative to Bitcoin get less valuable, said a different way. So this is what I'm expecting personally, just because of what we're about to take a look at next, which is the Bitcoin chart. Now, the Bitcoin chart, you can see we had kind of some of these all-time highs that we did hit here over the past couple of months. But if you do look, this is the chart and this is the structure that I think has been largely ignored. It has been this descending channel structure. This is something that we've seen. I've got them all marked here. Let's go take a look. We have seen this for an obscene amount of time, basically since about March of 2024. So for about the past 18 months, you will see that the majority of the time we've actually been in some version of a descending wedge. This was, of course, the major descending wedge prior to the US presidential election that then sent Bitcoin to new all-time highs, breaking that $100,000 mark, all that type of stuff. And then, of course, we did see a little bit more of an aggressive descending wedge, basically from the beginning of 2025 in January, all the way down to what we ended up seeing as the bottom in April during kind of that peak tariff fear. We then, of course, did a nice little kind of structured rally over the next couple of months here, getting to new all-time highs at that point, in which we floated into another descending channel. And then, of course, here you can see we did a whole bunch of retesting, and then again to further all-time highs, breaking the $120,000 mark at this point. So we have seen a bunch of really, really nice moves here from Bitcoin. It is very clear that Bitcoin is getting perhaps a little bit long in the tooth in terms of the bull market. We'll have to see. But what we can see here is we are now, what do you know, back in a descending trend line. Now, of course, we thought that there might have been a breakout at this point, which of course it did look like, but this was essentially a short squeeze and then kind of a long squeeze at the same time. You could see almost all of these gains, actually even a little bit more than these gains, getting recaptured to wipe all of the longs that were below this level. So this, to me, I'm not 100% sure, but it would not surprise me if this was some sort of manufactured run. Essentially go up, liquidate all the shorts that had piled in above all-time highs, and then get longs super, super bullish, and then immediately just dump right, essentially recapturing all of that liquidity. This was that day where we saw $20 billion in liquidations, which is an insane amount. But this is essentially kind of what we saw. Now, if you look since that point, basically if you just cross this out right here, you can see that we've been in this descending trend line the entire time. Nothing has changed. Everything has been kind of as we have seen it for the past, again, like the majority of the past almost 18 months that we have been around. This is what we've been seeing. Now, if you look and you follow under that type of theory, you will see here that we are actually getting towards the top, not towards the top, but let's say maybe the 70th, 75th percentile of this ascending or this descending channel here. Now, generally, how we play this is we get all the way up to the top, we sell, and then it comes all the way back down. We buy over and over and over, on and on again, and you would have seen that that would have actually worked very well here. You would have missed a little bit in this range because we did pull to new all-time highs, but then you would have had another buying opportunity back here down at the 107,000, and then even better opportunity down here at about 103. So what we will have to continue to see is until we see a sustained break, which again, it could always be a fake out like this, but unless we see a sustained break, we would probably be expecting this similar type of structure to play out. Now again, this is just my opinion. This is not financial advice. You should be making your own decisions, but I think you can see here based off of the chart, it does look fairly clear what is going on. Now, of course, you can see on the crypto bubbles today, we are seeing a fairly green day. We are seeing the market pump, but also this has been a very, very volatile little while here. You can see on the week, it is red on the week. We have a couple greens here and there. And then of course it is very red on the month. Some of these crypto altcoins just getting absolutely rinsed, seeing things like Aster down almost 50%, IP over 50%, Fetch almost 60%, Caspa 35, ICP 30, it's behind my picture, but you can see here, Aerodrome almost 30. I mean, just really, really insane moves going on here. So we'll have to see kind of what happens next. As you can see from the Bitcoin chart, it is very volatile. There's a lot of swinging highs, swinging lows. It's just, we don't really know exactly what's going on. Right now we're pumping over 110K. Yesterday we were concerned we'd be falling all the way down to 100. Who knows? It's absolute madness out there right now. But for me, that is why I think this kind of structure that we're seeing hopefully helps calm you down a little bit and helps give you a little bit more perspective as to what we could see. Now, I do usually look at this with the liquidation charts. I want to try and keep this video a little bit shorter today, so we will skip over the liquidation charts today. But what I did want to show you is how I think this could end up playing out, so I'm going to extend this a little bit. Now, what you could see is we do have this very, very key level of support here. This is about the 100K level. You could see that we would need to see this hold in order for kind of the bullish structure to remain intact. You could see that we saw a couple of dips back in here in June and July, but then again, we've kind of moved well up from there. So in order for this bullish structure to stay intact, in my opinion, ideally holding at this 103, 104K range, like we have seen, you'll see it is still continuing to make higher lows as well as higher highs here. If we start to pull below this, then that will be the first kind of macro lower low that we have put in, which would be very concerning for the potential outcome of the rest of this bull market. Because if the top's in for Bitcoin, that's pretty much it for altcoins, right? So I don't think that we have confirmation of that yet. I don't think we're really at risk of that, but I do think, there is that possibility that this descending channel will continue to dip into this range. And so if we can't see a bottom get put in here and then start to move back to the upside, that issue does potentially remain. So you will see I am kind of DCing as we go down. These were from some of the initial pullbacks, so they are in red for right now. Not really super concerned, but you can see as we dipped down yesterday, I did open another long just shy of 108K, which is up about 10%. I did actually take the profits on the really big dips that we were buying down in as far as like 105 and 104K. I did take those profits as we moved up to that 112, 113 range. So I am looking to DCA back again if we continue to find some of these lower lows. Again, just playing out on this structure, so we'll continue to see kind of how that goes over time. Now, if you are interested in trading, of course, I do have the links in the description below. Here you can see I personally use Weex, but the best deposit bonus and the best sign up rewards that we do have are for BTCC. You are getting that 10% bonus on your first time deposit, which is a fantastic deal. So if you are interested, feel free to check those links in the description below. I do also have Weex, as I mentioned, and then BloFin. If you are an ICP holder and a fan of ICP, they are doing a limited time ICP sign up bonus, which is massive news. That's really, really cool. Like I said, if you are into ICP and want to continue to potentially get some more ICP into your hands, that could be a good way to do so. So overall, those are in the links in the description below if you are interested. Now, I did want to just wrap up talking about this kind of total 3 ratio to Bitcoin. Now, what you can see is nothing really too crazy has happened. Of course, we have started to put in kind of, lower highs and lower lows, except for here, like I said, we are kind of in this consolidationary structure. Things are still looking okay. We are still above some of the lows that we were seeing back in July. Let's actually go back to the daily here so we can get a bit of a longer time frame. But you'll see we are kind of ranging in a whole bunch of different, like we're kind of, I would say, in the middle of where we have been. Obviously, we dipped very, very low back in June, kind of relative, this is alt relative to Bitcoin. And then we saw a nice little sustained rally. We have kind of dipped down a little bit. Ideally, we see another strong rally here. We have put in, again, if we exclude this liquidation wick, we are still kind of up on higher lows here. So that is ideally what we would be looking to maintain. And then we look to see, getting back to maybe the 38%, and maybe we even get up close to the 50%, which is what we saw back in that November to December timeframe. So feel free, of course, to kind of check this chart out a little bit closer. You can draw your own conclusions as well, just based on what we're seeing here. But ideally, we want to see this break to the upside. Of course, I think that's pretty obvious, but we will have to see. We'll see how this goes. But right now, we can see not too much of a movement being made from altcoins, just because I don't think that we necessarily have indications that Bitcoin has topped. I think there is still some hope that we see Bitcoin rally a bit further. So overall, hopefully you found the information in the video useful. If you did, of course, you know what to do. And then also, I'd love to hear any comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, whatever that you might have. Just drop those in the comment section below. Really appreciate it, and we will see you in the next one.